back to Green Connections. I'm Joan Michelson. What do you drive? Do you drive a gasoline vehicle, a regular internal combustion engine gasoline vehicle? Do you drive diesel? Do you drive hybrid? Do you drive a plug-in hybrid? Or do you drive an electric car? Tell us on our Facebook page and send it to me in a tweet on Twitter at Joan Michelson, or email it to us at greenconnectionsradio.com. What questions do you have about cars? I'll introduce you to an executive from Ford in a moment, but first, we're giving an ad away. Enter our drawing for a 30-second ad on our Green Minute segment. Go to greenconnectionsradio.com and enter by signing up for our newsletter. Sign up now. You can do it while you're listening to this. Now, as some of you know, I worked in the electric car business, so it's a topic I'm especially fond of. I had an opportunity to sit down at Verge briefly with an executive from Ford's electric car division, Michael Tinskey. Michael gave us his insights on where the industry is today and what has to happen to make electric cars more mainstream. Let's listen to Michael Tinskey.
Hi, this is Joan Michelson of Green Connections. I'm here at the Verge San Francisco 2013 conference with Michael Tinskey of Ford Motor Vehicles and your Associate Director of Vehicle Electrification and Infrastructure.
That's right.
Which comes first, the vehicle electrification or the infrastructure?
The chicken or the egg question,
Yeah.
right? I think they both have to come at the same time. The benefits that electric vehicles have is that most customers are charging them at home. And so they already have for many of the vehicles, they already have the infrastructure. They can charge using a standard outlet, or if they prefer to get a faster charge, they can put a charge station at their home. So infrastructure is really an easier one to get to because most customers are doing that at home.
Yeah, but a lot of people, full disclosure, I spent a few years in the electric car business for one of your competitors, by the way. And people don't perceive it as convenient. They know they can charge at home, but because people are away from home so often, that unless they can charge it in their parking lot at work, or one of the things that we did was we helped shopping centers put in charging stations, et cetera, people still, the consumer still, the car buyer, the Ford buyer, still perceives that it's not convenient, that we need, until I can find a charging station on every corner like I can a gas station, I'm nervous about it.
Right. Well, we're really bullish on what we call plug-in hybrids. So plug-in hybrids offer you the ability to drive most of your work week miles in electric mode. And then if you have a longer distance to go, you can use your gasoline for going on weekend trips, what have you. And you hit the nail on the head relative to where we're seeing the next trend in infrastructure, and that's corporate campuses. We're seeing many corporate campuses, including our own, actually looking at infrastructure as being a new employee benefit, so they're not charging for it. Right. And so they can charge at home, drive to work, charge at work, and essentially Monday through Friday, it's all electric.
And they get preferential parking and things like that too.
Well, that's one thing we're trying to find the right balance, right? Yeah. Because you don't want to put all the best spots, but at the same time, you don't want your installation cost to be too high. So we're finding the average spots, and that's where we're installing our electrified chargers.
What about shopping centers? Some of the shopping centers that I would talk to are already talking about giving them, we're talking pennies.
That's right.
So it's not like it's a big cost factor.
That's right.
But the truth is that in a world where we have, I forget the exact number, but millions and millions of cars on the road worldwide, only a very small fraction. It's trending up, but only still a very small fraction. I think it's like 1% are electric or even hybrids.
That's right.
So what is it going to take to, we talk about it sometimes as if the moment is here, but mass adoption is not here. The ICE is still running the day.
Yeah, and it will be for some time. In fact, we like to call it measured growth. So the statistic I like to use is the first hybrid that we introduced was in 2004, and that was the Ford Hybrid Escape. It took us until about 2011 for us to get to 2% of our sales to be hybrid. So it almost took 8 years to get that 2%. But the next 2%, which we reached in October of 2012, only took just over a year. So you're right. Percentage-wise, we're running for hybrids, plug-ins, we're running at just over 4%. The industry is. So you're right. It's small, but it's growing. And then to your other point about the the retail outlets and corporate campuses, that's really where there's a huge opportunity, because I'll give you an example. At Ford, it costs us about 50 or 60 cents to recharge an employee's car.
For how long a period of time?
So it's about 2.5 hours if their battery is fully depleted. But we just avoided potentially that employee having to use a half a gallon of gas.
Well, that's true, but by the way, most electric cars take a lot longer than 2.5 hours to recharge from fully depleted.
Well, the example I was giving you is a plug-in hybrid. So it's about an 8 kilowatt-hour battery, and that's about how long it takes.
It's not a fully electric car.
And our full electric, by the way, is just over 3 hours, because we have a really big charger on board.
Fast charger.
It's a 6.6 kilowatt
Cool.
charger. So I think the point I was going to make is that the cost to the company to offer this as a free benefit is only 50 or 60 cents in this example.
Minuscule, yeah.
But the employees receiving about a half a gallon gas worth of offset, but not having to burn a half a gallon of gas.
See. Okay.
So that's a $2 benefit. So there's a way of offering a new benefit that's not necessarily very expensive.
It's a cost-effective perk.
Exactly.
What is it going to take to have electric vehicles, or I guess I should say alternative fuel vehicles, because we're also looking at hydrogen fuel and fuel cells, et cetera. So what is it going to take to flip the numbers, to have the internal combustion engine, the ICE, be the smaller percentage, and have the higher percentage be vehicles that run on alternative fuels? What's that going to...
Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball, but I'll say this. We're on our third generation of hybrids, and we're actually seeing the plug-in hybrid becoming more battery electric like every generation. So if you look at the size of the engine that was in our first hybrid, it was a 3-liter, and then we went to a 2.5 liter.
Oh, I see.
And then we went to a 2-liter. Mm-hmm. So the engines are getting smaller and smaller, and the batteries are getting bigger and bigger, or more powerful, not necessarily
Okay,
physical.
I was going to say, yeah, we don't want them necessarily bigger. That takes
right.
up too much weight, et cetera.
And so I expect that trend to continue, especially with battery technology. And what we're likely going to see is the engine becoming used less and less, and the battery be more powerful.
Who is buying the electric cars and the plug-in hybrids mostly? What's the customer profile?
It's all over the map. It's a lot of different age groups. Tends to be a lot of early adopters. We're on our 2 higher volume products, which is the Fusion Energy and the C-Max Energy. For the Fusion Energy, we're seeing a lot of people that are gravitating to the high design and style.
Men, women,
both.
Income brackets. I mean, do you have percentages of these?
Yep. So we've got on the C-Max Energy, which is our other plug-in hybrid, we're finding that most of them are optimizers. We like to use the term optimizer. It's the customer that really wants on the fuel efficiency.
Oh, they want the biggest bang for their buck.
That's right. And that price point is very reasonable.
And is that usually a man or a woman, or is there an age group on that? Is it usually a...
No, that's the statistics and demographics are really all over the map.
Really? An equal factor?
Yeah, you know what? The one interesting statistic that I find interesting is the conquest rate. So this is customers are coming from other brands.
Right.
And our conquest rate for our electrified products is 65%. So 65% of the customers are coming from other brands.
Wow, 65% of the customers for your plug-in hybrids are in effect switching from a previous brand loyalty to the Ford brand loyalty. What do you attribute that to?
Great product.
Oh.
No, I
mean, it could be the advertising. It could be Mike, whatever his name is, who does Dirty Jobs
That's right.
show,
That's
who does your ads. Or the woman that he talks to with the Ford.
I can tell you my personal, I don't know the answer.
Okay.
My personal opinion
Good, I like a man who says I don't know.
They're highly styled vehicles. And so I think we're shifting from maybe what may have not been highly styled vehicles and energy efficient vehicles to what we call highly styled, that are people really like the looks of the Fusion and our other products. And I think that's drawing people into the brand.
Well, there's also a feeling that behavioral economics is peer pressure, and the nudge thing. And there's a lot of press about shows like this where sustainability is in, and it's cool to be this. But I also know that there's some people who drive hybrids who if they're in a hybrid SUV, for example, they still get pelted because people just don't think of an SUV as a hybrid. To me, it's an oxymoron, but that's another topic. So how much of it is that? How much of it is peer pressure? How much of it is, kids pressure? The kid comes home from school or you drop them off at school and they go, Dad, drop me off down the block because I don't want anybody to see you, pulling up an XYZ car, which I've also heard happen.
I hope it's all of those. But the answer... It
doesn't matter as long as they're buying your cars, right?
I wish I could have a better answer. But one of the things that maybe that goes against maybe some of that is that if they were doing it for image, they wouldn't be charging. And our data is showing that these customers are charging every night.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, right, because if it was image...
And they're being responsible about maintaining the car. That's very interesting.
So we're seeing them charge on average about 7 times a week.
Wow, okay, well, that's once a day.
Which is once a day. So we're...
What's your biggest challenge right now? In terms, you're vehicle electrification and infrastructure, so...
It boils down to cost. And we're working hard to get the cost of these products
of a car itself.
Of the car themselves. We're working on a lot of things, right? Not only the cost of the products, but also the cost of driving, meaning the electric energy, how much it costs, and new ways of working with utilities to get that cost and charging low-cost off-peak rates and those kind of things. So anywhere we can, we're looking for to get the ability to get the product in lower cost.
Just real quickly, do you sell chargers too?
We do. Well, we offer them through our dealers, and we have, in terms of a charger, a third party.
Yeah.
And what we've really done there, and we've changed, is our new process is you only have to take 1 day off of work to meet the person there. The electrician comes out, they have the product, they give you the quote on the site. You like it, you agree with the quote,
cool.
It's installed and permitted all in one stop.
Well, Michael Tinskey, Associate Director of Vehicle Electrification and Infrastructure of Ford Motor Company, thank you so much for joining us.
So what do you drive? Tell us on our Facebook page. Do you drive a hybrid? Do you drive an electric car? Do you have an SUV? What do you like about it? What frustrates you about it? What would it take to get you into an electric car if you don't already drive one? Do you want to be able to charge at work? Do you want to be able to charge at a shopping center? Are you looking for financial incentives like came out with the Recovery Act? By the way, some states have some financial incentives, so check out your state. Tell us what you drive and what it would take to get you into an electric vehicle. Michael sounds very encouraging, but I'm concerned about this storage issue, as you could probably hear. In fact, I also spoke with a storage industry expert at Verge named Janice Lin. Let's listen to Janice Lin.
I'm here with Janice Lin, who is co-founder and director of the California Energy Storage Association. I hope I said that right.
Storage Alliance.
Storage Alliance, okay. Storage is such a huge issue. We've been hearing all day at this conference about energy management issues and the new technologies coming down the pike. And I was just in a session about electric vehicles.
Yeah.
I spent a few years in that business, so I know it well. Storage is the 800-pound gorilla in the room because we're in an expo where there's a small wind turbine even here. We can't do wind storage, we can't do solar, we can't do wind energy and solar and other forms of alternative energy without storage. Okay, storage is what enables the rest of it because it's the intermittency that's the problem.
Yeah, actually, I would beg to differ a little bit with
I
that.
like that. Good.
So, clearly we've done a lot of renewable energy, a lot of wind, a lot of solar, geothermal for years and years. Yet we've only had a tiny amount of storage on the grid. So renewable energy is a good thing. Renewable energy can be done in vast quantities. How we like to think about storage and renewable energy is that storage makes the entire system operate much more efficiently. So it can help us achieve greater utilization of our transmission, distribution assets, better utilization of existing fossil plants. It can certainly be used to help integrate renewable energy. And the idea is when you have a grid that's smarter, better utilized, you can do even more renewable energy. So it's a nuanced perspective, but...
So what do we need? We're building a new grid, and we're building microgrids, okay, like the one we have in this room. What do we need to do to the grid to do that?
you know what? We have all the tools available to us right now to do more and more storage on the grid. And indeed, there's a lot of storage happening throughout the grid.
Give us an example.
Well, so pumped hydro, for example, has been around for many, many decades. And there's more and more pumped hydro under development. That's a given. What's really exciting is there's a lot of advanced new types of storage, compressed air, various types of chemical storage, mechanical storage such as flywheels, thermal storage in the form of chilled water,
Are they
ice.
storing energy no matter where it's derived from? Or are they
It
only
could.
storing certain types of energy?
It could, and that's the amazing thing about storage is it's super flexible. And what it literally means is you're taking energy from one time period and you're shifting it in time for use later. It's kind of like inventory. Every modern manufacturing system or human process has inventory. It makes sense to have a little inventory in the electric power system.
Wow, what a great note to end on. Well, thank you so much, Janice, for being here.
Sure.
And again, I'm here with Janice Lynn, who is co-founder and director of the California Energy Storage Alliance.
So we've been talking about the government's role, industry's role. What about your role? What about my role? What about the consumer's role? Where does the consumer come in? Up next, someone who helps us consumers live green and buy green.
Capital Audio Post, your one-stop shop for your post-production needs. 703-712-8757.
Our services include video editing, sound design, sound mixing, ISDN recording, and many other media-related services.
Let us finish your project no matter where you are, across the U.S. or across the world. Go to www.capitalaudiopost.com. Call us at 703-712-8757.
Let us know how we can help you finish your production.